Hey guys, so we're back with another episode of Sparring Narration, and in this episode, I'm going to be showing you guys a new omoplata sweep that I like to use from closed guard. I'll open up my guard, and then I tend to underhook a leg and go for the sweep often. I'll show you guys how I'm able to pull it off on a bigger opponent who has a pretty good wrestling background, really good base, really scrappy scrambler. I'll talk you guys through it, and then I'll talk about some of the things that my opponent could have done to defend against it a little better. Let's get right to it. Right here, you'll see that I am pulling my opponent into closed guard. As I pull him into the guard, I'm always trying to isolate an arm. So specifically right here, I go for the cross grip from the closed guard position. I'll often play it with a 2-on-1. My goal being I want to grab by their wrist as well as by their elbow and separate their arm from their body. And when you separate your opponent's arm from their body, whether you're playing in closed guard or whether you're playing stand-up or whether you're in topside control, whenever you separate someone's arm from their body, it makes them weaker. It makes their ability to base out, balance, and generate strength a whole lot weaker than if they're able to have their arms closer to their body. Once I do that, I immediately underhook a leg. So you'll see my hand here is underhooking. I have a grip on his sleeve right here. And what you might not be able to see is that I am using my legs to push him back. The reason I'm pushing him back with my legs is I want the counter reaction of him pushing back into me. It's a natural reaction. Someone pushes you and you tend to brace yourself and bring force back in the direction in which you were shoved. I'm looking for that force to come back, and the moment that I feel it coming back, I bring my legs in and I angle off towards the opposite side. So we'll see here, I bring my legs in, I angle off, and I immediately go into the omoplata position. You'll see here, I bring my right leg up, I'm extending his arm out, and he starts to come in. He starts to posture in. As soon as he does that, I've got him. I've got the pressure that he had sitting his weight back in my guard has now been removed. And I was able to remove it because I was able to, again, push him back with my legs, wait for the reaction for him to come forward, and then immediately go into the omoplata. I went into the omoplata, I messed up a little bit on it, and then I was able to get a nice bite on his arm while keeping this hand pulled down in between my legs. When you get into this position, it's super important not to be on your lower back. You want to be high on your shoulder blades. The higher you are on your shoulder blades, the harder it's going to be for your opponent to control you, and the more momentum you can generate in either direction. And what I mean by that is, if I'm high on my shoulder blades, I have the option of either going forward with the omoplata, so doing, omoplata in standard, how it's normally done, or rolling back over my shoulders in this direction and coming up on top into side control. You'll see here, I use leg momentum to immediately come and bring him forward into the roll. I'll just bring it back a little bit here. You'll see here, he's grabbing my foot. This is really, it's a pretty good attempt at it. He's grabbing my foot. He doesn't have a really good grip, though. He's not grabbing around the knee area. He's grabbing more towards the pant leg area, and he's off balanced here, mainly because I'm on my shoulder blades. I have a leg hooked, and I have his arm right here. So he doesn't know, which direction I could go. I could go backwards and roll him over to his back, or I could go forwards. It just so happens I choose to go forward in this instant. I have him going here. And he does a good job. He uses his right arm to sort of base and stop the roll. He's a pretty strong guy, pretty bigger guy than me, but I've got his leg hooked here. Once I have his leg hooked, I pull up on his sleeve, and I keep that trapped. I do not want to let go of this sleeve grip at any moment in time, or else he's going to be able to scramble out. He's going to be able to put base and get out. So I hold on to that, and instead of coming up completely because he's starting to put pressure back and put his weight out, I'll roll him over to my right side. And what this does is it doesn't allow him to come on top of me. He's grabbing my fore hip here, but as long as I keep everything held, as long as I keep holding his arm, which I'm doing, and holding his leg, I'll be able to win this scramble and come on top. And you'll see here, I win the scramble and come on top. The wall stopped us right here. So I wasn't able to complete the turn because everything got sort of jammed up right here. But you'll see the idea of itself was to scramble and get on top, and I was able to win that scramble. So if we bring the video back a little bit, I'll sort of talk about what my opponent could have done here a little better. And I think a lot of it has to start with positioning in the closed guard. I can't stress this enough. You want to be breaking grips at every opportunity that you can get. You want to break a grip, and then you want to reassert your own grip. So right here where I've got the 2-on-1 right here on his elbow, let me see if I can pause it and bring it back for you guys so you'll be able to see it right there. Oh, messed up a little bit. We'll try it again. Okay, excellent. Right here. I've got the 2-on-1 grip. He's got one leg on the mat. You guys unfortunately can't see it from the other side, and he's posting one leg up. I think, personally, it's not the way that I like to open up the closed guard. I like to make sure that I'm controlling either one of the arms before I post the leg up in the closed guard. But some guys like to do it that way, and that's fine, for them. But it's not the way that I like to do it. What I would have done here, though, is definitely you can't allow this arm to be separated. You have to bring this elbow back. And it's just a matter of closing your elbow. You don't want to make a large arm movement here, because the larger the arm movement you make, the easier it's going to be for me to get this leg up and into your armpit and cause you to lose balance. The other thing is, you can see here I am not directly on. I'm perpendicular to my opponent right here. So he's off. I'm off at an angle, and he's not aligned with me. Anytime you're in closed guard and your opponent gets off to an angle, it is dangerous. It gives your opponent a way to attack you at an angle, and you can't recover quickly enough to stop his movements. So you always want to be aligned with your opponent in closed guard. You always want to be controlling their hips and pushing their hips down in closed guard. You never want to allow your opponent to get off to an angle. You can see here how I'm off to an angle right here. I have my other foot. It's starting to come up on his hip. See how I push him back? And look at the angle that I have right here. I have such an angle on his body right here that it's just a disaster right here to be able to do anything. He really can't do too much to me here. He's going to try to grab for this leg over here, but that's a bad idea, because if you grab for this far leg that's out here, you just stretch your body out in this direction. And that's the direction that I'm trying to throw you in with my legs and sweep you in. So it just makes it easier. So immediately, if you get caught in this position, you want to be thinking, hey, I've got to get squared up with my opponent. I've got to get my knee in the middle, and I've got to get better grips and sit my weight down on my opponent. We'll see here, you'll see the space that's created. Again, the angle that I'm at versus the angle that he's at. He's not aligned with me, which is just making everything much harder. So right here, he's starting to get back aligned with me, but then look, I'm again at an angle to where he is. He's not head on direct. I'm very parallel to him right now, and it just gives me a lot of range of motion that he doesn't have, and eventually it results in him getting swept over. So again, one of the things you guys can definitely take from this short bit is that you always want to be creating angles in your closed guard when you go for the attack. If you're on the defensive in closed guard, you want to make sure that you are aligned with your opponent and that you're doing everything you can in order to keep aligned with your opponent. The more you do that, the more successful you will be. And until next time, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Take care.